dead.
Right. And that's how we open the Friday Grief Chat. Don't go dead,
That's
go
right.
live. Welcome to
Right,
the
right.
Friday Grief Chat. I'm Jill.
I'm
That's
Deb.
Deb. And this is where we talk about all of grief with some humor and some grace and a little bit of laughter and sometimes some tears. And it's the Friday edition of Dios de los Muertos for those who are observing, or All Saints Day for those who are observing, or it's just Friday, November 1st, and we're heading. Oh, there we go. There's the Deb. She's holding up her earring, which is in fact a decorated skeleton.
It
And now we
is.
are sliding in to Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas. We just had Diwali yesterday, and all the
That's
others. I
real
even
early.
all everything's coming.
Everything. Oh my
Everything.
goodness.
Yes, I lit a candle for my mom today because it is
Mhm.
All Saints Day in this house, and we have a candle with her face on it, so it seemed like it was the right thing to do. But
Yes,
because we have dogs, the only place I could put it was on the stove. So, yeah, she her candle is burning
exactly.
on the stove.
Their cat.
But it's
Yes,
next to the coffee maker, so, it works. Yeah,
that's
she would
great.
appreciate that. How has your week been? How has everyone's week been?
Daryl and I, um, Daryl's 74 and he moves amazingly well. Um, let's just say within our family unit, there's been a separation, a breakup, a divorce after 10 years. And so Daryl has been moving stuff. I have been cleaning and setting up new residents. And it let's just say getting up physically, Daryl and I both, I think a couple that groans together stays together because we're both going, ugh. And
When
then he
everything
goes,
hurts at the same time for both of you, it's a
I know. And then I go, where did that bruise show up? Oh, I remember running into a pointy thing.
right.
And, just both of us, just being the grounding force for both of these people as they uncouple their lives. And that's hard. That's
Mhm.
really hard. And it's, as I was telling Jill beforehand, uncoupling, to quote some movie star who didn't want to say divorce, but uncoupling, there's a lot of moving parts in your heart and in your head. And so on one hand, I'm like really sad and going, what are the holidays going to look like? And now I'm also really glad, and I'm really sad and I'm glad. But
It's all the things.
so that's how the whole week has been. It's all the things I do want to share with our listening audience that Sunday we were the third couple to what's called a dumb supper. Dumb being DUMB. And it's the old English term of mute. So there's no talking during supper. And it was set up by some friends of mine. One are Wiccan from the Gardnerian lineage, and another couple, Druid pagan,
Nice.
and I and both of them had grown up Catholic. So the purpose was to call in ancestors, and so they symbolically created a safe space with a little bit of incense and burning and energy. And then one of them cooked most of the supper. The other set up, like, there were candles on the plate, we set up a whole place setting for for the ancestors. And it's not just one, you invite one ancestor and they sit down. It's not one at a time because it's symbolic. So you can have many layers of ancestors sitting at once or sensing them. And it's a time to go through memories and just quiet and inviting them to partake. And one of the couples put a dinner roll on the plate so there would be actual food there. And, and then when the dinner portion is done, they took the candles and stuff outside. We also wrote on flash paper, which
Flash
is,
paper?
do you know what flash paper is?
No. What is flash paper?
Flash paper, magicians use it, and people who do certain ceremonies use it because it, I don't know what it's made of, but if it hits fire, it goes poof. Not like the slow burn like regular paper. It just goes poof. So magicians, when you see fire around them and it goes poof, that's flash paper. And it comes in different sizes and
okay.
Yeah. And we use it in Unity. A lot of Unity churches use it when you want to do a release.
Mm-hmm.
And so you write whatever it is you want to release, and you fill it up with a lot of words, and you drop it into like on top of a candle. Poof.
Nice.
It's really cool. And that's what we did there too. We wrote what we wanted to release. And I went to another ceremony over the weekend where we wrote what we wanted to release, because this is the time of year where they say the veil is thin.
Mm-hmm.
And the veil meaning separating from this physical world to a spiritual world.
Mm-hmm.
And so actually, in spite of the uncoupling going on, I have been part of beautiful ceremonies the whole weekend and this week.
I think that's awesome. There you go. I posted a clip from The Crown on Humor, Grace, and Grief yesterday.
Oh.
And it's a clip of, and of course this is fictional or fictionalized, but it showed Queen Elizabeth, the late Queen Elizabeth, being shown the plans for her funeral. And they actually had they actually had a whole setup on a table, and it had the church, and it had her casket on the gun carriage, and small military people so they could show her what it would look like, because she had to approve everything. And you could see her just sort of check out and fall into imagining that casket and all those people following her. And it was such a joining of her reality and of ceremony and of looking forward and her own anticipatory grief, and I think it's kind of perfect for a thinning of the veil kind of a week, because that was her thinning of the veil. She'd been very much opposed to talking about her funeral plans. Mm-hmm. And so they forced the issue by setting up this diorama.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine a diorama of your entire funeral?
I would like that.
I would like that, but I'd want to be warned it was there, and I'd want to be part of putting it together, not walk in and see my casket sitting on a ton.
This is you, Deb.
Right. And here you go. We're taking it out. There you go. And her first response was, I do believe Prince Philip is older than I am.
That's great. That is great. On Blue Bloods, speaking of media on Blue Bloods last week. The oldest, the grandfather, says, I went to another funeral. They say such nice things. What would you say about me? And one of them, like, this isn't your funeral. Yeah, but I'd like to hear him now while I'm still alive. I really appreciated that. And there was a friend of mine who had bone cancer that did exactly that. She had a pre-funeral. And that may be something I would do. I mean, I'd like to have a party and enjoy it.
Yes. I want to rent the Blow Up Irish pub and do that.
See?
Right? Because my people terrorized Ireland, so we can steal the pub too. So long ago, folks, long ago. But I think it would be fun to hear. Right. My uncle's being interred next week, and it's only his wife, his stepson, and his step grandson going, and a minister who did not know him, who's saying some words at the cemetery, and that's he requested no services here, even though he spent almost his entire adult life here in Southern California. He's been here since the 50s. But I think it would be nice to be able to give people a chance to say the things, right?
Right. Exactly. I would like that.
What would Daryl say?
Good for you. Oh, you mean what would he say at my funeral? What would he say if I wanted it?
No, at your funeral.
Well, let's just say this, that when we buy cards for family members, we buy one funny and one serious. So it would be funny, and then there might be a moment of seriousness.
There you go.
Yeah. Both of us agree. We really do make good partners working for the good of the universe. And I would say that for him, he would say that to me, and I'd pick him again. Hopefully the karma that we've been working through with our whole marriage related to a couple things would be done with. So some things could be really a lot easier. But, I think people really, how do you work with your partner? What are you doing? I mean, those that have partners, how are you helping the universe? And can you let each other sort of go to do their thing, be the light? This is my belief system. Be the light to just go and do your thing. You come back, you share a meal, and you go back out. I mean, Daryl and I have not seen each other very much this week because of the work we were doing. And I know you and Stacy do that a lot.
Yep. So I was gone all day yesterday. I left here at 8:30 to get to the office, and I finished at the homeless program at 8:30 last night.
That's
and I was wearing a blow up rainbow unicorn outfit the whole freaking time. Thank you, Deb.
I loved it. I loved it. Speaking of loss, that's what we do. I know I do this with my grief clients, but at the same time, when I have to do it and take myself through those same steps, it's interesting. Let's put it that way. And which is, I look forward the whole year to the event of Halloween in this country. My neighbor and I were just talking about that, how much it means to me and why. And the why is, I got to be my funny, weird self once a year without judgment,
Without explanation.
without explanation, without that. And that's just one of the, and I felt my independence as a kid walking the streets, going trick or treating because we could, and it
Mhm.
was safe on the block and you know whose house to stay away from. So, anyway, I'm saying this because as I got older, the kids in the neighborhood, as they got older, always remembered how this house has Halloween stuff in front, and I always dress up and I hand out little prizes and maybe something to eat for the older people, for the teens. And yesterday, because we were busy with this other couple, I really debated and I was like, So I had to ask myself, how would I best feel in integrity with myself if I couldn't do that this year? So I came home, I set up a table with goodies and some signs and said, please help yourself, blah, 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 blah. And that's what I did. And it was different. The only other time I did that was the first year of COVID, 2020. After that, I came to the door with a mask. I,
Yeah.
I certainly had masks for masks, and yeah. So I just wanted to say that
It's your holiday.
it was what I did with I worked with my own integrity. It gave me a hair's breadth more peace to,
Mhm.
yeah. How about
Absolutely.
you? What's been going on this week with you and all the feels?
It's been just a really quick lightning week, lots going on, and anticipating Halloween, but anticipating being busy on Halloween. Um, Lots of people are kind of anticipatory grieving whatever the outcome is next week, and
Absolutely.
they are not sure what is happening and not sure how they're going to handle it or what they're going to do. And
Hmm.
then for me, Halloween is not only a lot of fun, um, but it's also the opening of that veil into the holiday season. And I love Christmas music. And so I've been learning about landscaping refrigerators, which is a new thing in Pinterest
Oh,
where you
yes.
decorate it. And I saw one that had a thing where you unscrew the light bulb in the fridge and then put the screw in that holds the light bulb but also has plugs on it. And then you plug in the singing Christmas lights that are motion
No.
activated. And that may just have happened at my office yesterday afternoon late. And there may be Christmas lights on our coffee bar already. Yes, indeedy. Because it's Christmas. Thanksgiving, we'll have some, whatever. But it's
Yes.
Christmas season. It's
Oh
Christmas
my.
season. It's Christmas music season, and I'm just so happy. And yes, there's a lot of grief that is involved in Christmas and the holidays. And in fact, at our office, we actually have Dios de las Muertes altars on two tables and invite
Hmm.
people to bring things. And I have pictures on those, which gives us a chance to share with other staff who's missing in our lives. And
Hmm.
clients are invited to place pictures there as well.
Hmm.
So we have that, and that's a continuous reminder in our
Hmm.
office. But now it's Christmas, and the Christmas music is on, and I got in my car, and Sirius has the two holiday channels up, and I am all ready for the holidays. Yes, I am.
I love it.
And that is
Actually,
how I'm going to ski through the election is Christmas music.
Christmas music. Yeah. You know,
Hmm.
my neighbor, she has Halloween has never been her thing for many, many reasons. And she's always known this house loves it, her house not so much. However, she was helping out her grandkids and her daughter-in-law because her son was away, and she bought herself an elf costume and went. They were all witches and she was a little elf, and she's short. And she got so many compliments and said, "I'm so glad to see you."
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that great? And
I
she's
love that.
adorable anyway. So, petite little thing. So, yes. So, I'll get a picture. I'll send you a picture of her elf, of her looking an elf,
That's
her elf
awesome.
persona. Yeah. Yeah. One of the stores is going out of sale, and I was on a deadline yesterday picking up different things. Do you know how hard it was to not just relax and peruse through the Christmas stuff? It was so hard. It really was. I love Christmas. Halloween and Christmas, both original pagan holidays.
Absolutely.
I know, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Best
I
thing ever.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just said it's the best thing ever, and it's fun to know that we've got these reaches that go back to ancestors before we knew ancestors, and that we can
Absolutely.
connect to that and carry it forward even with the silliness of the singing Christmas lights that are motion activated.
Oh my God. I didn't figure you for a cruel person, but
Oh,
you're
that's just fun. It's my
oh yeah.
it's my
Yeah.
it's my April Fool's part.
Yes, that's right.
Mhm.
That is funny. Um, we got compliments yesterday on I look forward to your these are the adults. I look forward to your house and your blow up decor every year. And that made me feel good, you know. We've been here 30 years. They didn't have blow up stuff many years ago. I used to do some other kind of decor rating.
Yep.
So, yeah, it just yeah, that's what I can say. I I'm glad the holiday's over. I don't buy candy because it's not safe for me, but I did buy um a whole bunch of little bags of chips, and there's all these flavors that I can't stand.
Uh-huh.
So it works out really well for me, and to give them
Like it.
away and stuff like that, and they stay forever. So,
Mhm.
yeah. Oh man.
So what
And
does the week look like? What are you going to be doing as we slide into these seasons?
uh first thing is I've been busy cleaning these other people's house and space. So I'm going to clean mine. I think you and I have a project that is due November 10th, and I'm going to talk to you about it. And then there's another there's a few things online. I want to do some artwork. That's I've cleaned up some of the spaces around here. I need to clean up the kitchen, but other than that, I think it's quiet Deb time. I'll sort of just check out from the universe next Tuesday. I have a doctor's appointment. I think maybe a breakfast, and then I'm out of here. So, yeah,
Nice.
yeah, yeah.
I
Hang
just
out in nature.
realized that we are not posting on to this didn't get posted to our regular Humor, Grace, and Grief page. So I just sent a link.
Oh,
Um,
good.
but it did not go. So I just sent it out. But for those who didn't get it, it will be on afterward. But
Yes.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ah,
So sorry.
things happen. Jill, you and I have been doing this for 4.5 years, almost
Mm-hmm.
4.5, maybe 4.25. And I want to say a couple things. One, My hope for our listening audience is you that you got some creative ideas on how to work with grief. You've given yourself permission to go off script in life when you have a grief. And that when mistakes happen or missteps happen, that you can genuinely do this. Recognize your head's filled with a lot of different things. Grief compounds that cotton head feeling, and there's no right way or wrong way to do life except be in an integrity and work with peace. I mean, really, that's basically what else have we done for, and what is your hope for everybody here?
I love that we have done a lot of grief education. I love that we have
Yes.
other grief educators who join us here.
Mhm.
And we're going to have another one. Julia Hollenbeck is going to be with us in the next couple weeks. We're settling a date soon. In fact, I messaged her this morning, and she actually runs a grief retreat, which is an amazing experience. We had our guest last time who is doing the grief cruise. I love that we're expanding the idea of where you can take your grief and how you can express it, and that
Mhm.
it's possible to find safety to talk about grief and loss in
Mhm.
places other than with just one individual grief therapist. Then it's okay to talk about it at the grocery store and
Mhm.
at the farmer's market and
Mhm.
at the gas station and any
Mhm.
place else that someone might be who's had a loss, that we can say there's a place where you can come and listen, and there's a Facebook page called Humor, Grace, and Grief, and you can come and find stuff posted there all the time and other grief people who post there all the time,
And
and you can
podcasts.
find help and podcasts. This goes out on a podcast platform. We go get our Diet Cokes on ice in the mornings and know the people at the place where we get them. And one of them pulled me aside the other day, and she'd had a grandparent diagnosed with a terminal illness, an uncle who then subsequently died 2 days later, and a grandfather who was sick. And everyone was telling everyone not to talk about it. Nobody could say anything. It was hush hush. And she just needed a place to go, "Pah!" And she knew that's who I was. And she knew now knows that she can come here. I love that we
Yes.
have that for folks.
Yes.
We're not doing therapy here. We're giving you some coping, some permissions, some breathing, some humor, some movies to watch, some things to think about, the connection to Queen Elizabeth and the connection to Coco and the connection to music and the connection to all of our listeners and viewers who've shared their own losses. I, I, it's made such a nice connection. And during COVID, it gave people a place to come and talk without a mask where
Yeah.
they could see our expressions
Right.
and they could see it's possible to get a look from someone when you're in deep grief that's not this, that sad look that everyone gets when they're
Right.
grieving, that they could see some
Oh.
brightness on their face. Yeah,
Mhm.
all of that. That we could talk about pet loss being just as important as human loss.
And talk about other losses, from a job
To a
to a religion
neighborhood,
to a neighborhood to Mother Nature to uh,
mass shootings,
mass shootings, money, anything that,
loss of confidence in your country.
yes,
All of those things matter, and this is a safe place to talk about it. And if you have a viewpoint that's different, that's okay. We're
yes.
here to support folks in how they do grief, however they need to do it. It is
Mhm.
your grief, your way, your rules.
And you know, Jill and I often talk about our own losses. And we do that because it's grief is a community event. And that's probably the biggest loss during COVID. It was what everybody came around to support, physically came around. You couldn't do that anymore. And how do you do community? How do you grieve when you're used to only grieving one way? And
that's exactly right.
And that became a loss on top of a loss. And so I really hope that our listening audience knows they can get a hold of Jill. And Jill, what's the best way to get a hold of you? Can you actually say it, even though it's part of this?
It's on my Gmail. It's jilljohnsonyoung@gmail.com.
Right. And I'm Deborah Joy Hart at gmail.com. And that's a real simple way. You can write us on this page, Humor, Grace, and Grief. Send us a note, send us a message. Many of you have. And just know that, at least for Jill and I, our capacity for caring is huge. And we answer all questions. And if we don't know the answer, we'll send you to somebody that can help.
And if you post something on our page, which you can,
yes,
you can put a query. There are lots of grief people who visit that page, and they will frequently offer some kind of thought or resource if that is what you are looking for. We also have resources posted, and I have resources posted at jilljohnsonyoung.com. So we've got, and therebelliouswidow.com. We've got lots and lots of places for you to reach out, especially as we are diving into this season, because this one can be a joyful one, and Jill landscaping the inside of the refrigerator with the singing Christmas lights season, but it can also could be a hard season, and we recognize that as well.
Yeah.
It can be the season where you need your dog.
Or I don't even know where my kitty is. Oh, he's laying on top of the gas fireplace.
That's a smart place to be.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I'll put Christmas lights on it if I'm there.
I know you will. And now I'm thinking, where's my Christmas lights? I might have to do something.
Yes, it's time. It's November 1st. We get to do it.
Yes, I love it.
Yes. It really is something that brings me joy. And I think even in the midst of grief, and there is grief in all of our lives for one thing or another, we can still find joy and still find smiles. And I'm going to go pick up fresh zucchini today too. So I'm super excited about that.
Yes.
Because
all right, folks.
We're still growing. Until next week.
Until next week, we'll know more who is in charge of this country. And go vote. Vote your mind. We're not saying who to vote for. We're saying go vote.
Go vote. You exercise your right to vote. Support those who have voted. And let's keep it peaceful and positive, folks. Until next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.